Hey guys, and welcome to the latest Chronos AV Review Diaries. Today we want to take a look at the Fezz Titania valve amplifier. Now this is quite a new brand to the UK, but it is getting a lot of publicity at the moment. Lots of really positive reviews and lots of good feedback from customers. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to take you through the amplifier, give you an idea of some of the particular features that Fezz have incorporated into the amplifier, and then also, of course, as always, discuss a little bit more about the sound and even the potential suitability of this amplifier for your system. So off the bat, the price of this amplifier is £3,495. So it is quite a well-priced amplifier when you consider the spec it has, the build quality, and does obviously come in at quite a competitive price point in the market. But we certainly think that the Fezz definitely holds its own. As you can see here, it's a very well built product. It's really robust, beautiful styling. It's got a little bit of a modern twist, we think, to it as well, which is quite nice. When you incorporate a little bit, obviously, of the slightly more conventional valves design. So we think it offers a lot for the money. And again, obviously, later we'll talk a little bit sonically as well about how it compares to other amplifiers at the price point. But to give you a little bit of information about the amplifier, so for any of you guys that don't know about Fezz, essentially the guys behind Fezz are toroidal transformers. So this is a really well-established company. Of course, their transformers are used by many hi-fi brands across the world. This is their first time really going into an amplifier design of their own. So obviously you can see here we have 3 large toroidal transformers. In this, these are putting out about 45 watts per channel. So again, for a valve amplifier, it's quite well powered. It's going to give you a lot of options for speakers. So it's not an amplifier that's going to limit you in any way, really, as long as you obviously pair it up with a speaker that will match well. But you do have a good choice there to choose from. There's a couple of things that the Fezz are doing which we find really interesting. So one of them that I'll actually show you now is, obviously, to start with, it does come with this cage protector. What we really like about the cage protector is it does have an acrylic front panel here, which is clear. What's nice about that is, of course, it's fully protected. It's fully vented here on the top and the sides. But of course, you can still see those valves glowing, which is always nice. It's a slightly more nostalgic look. Obviously, with some of the other amplifiers, when they're fully caged, you lose a bit of that visibility of the valves. So we thought it was a really nice design, and again, it can easily be just lifted on and off without any problems. So the 2 input valves that are supplied generally are 12 AX7s. But the really nice thing with Fezz have actually done is on the rear here, you will be able to see they use a switch. So you have your 12 AX7, but they also supply you a pair of 6N2P valves as well. And it's your choice really which you want to use. So you can completely change the tone of the amplifier by swapping the valves. So we have the 12 AX7s in here, and you can set it obviously to that mode. If you want to try the other valves, obviously just insert them and flick a switch and you're ready to play. It of course also has your pentode and triode mode switch here as well. So again, you can switch it super simple. What's really nice as well here, you guys probably won't be able to see it, but we'll try and do a video slide of this. On the rear here, we do have 4 LEDs. Now the idea behind this is that it's to demonstrate if there is a fault, if one of the valves does get damaged, there's a problem, these LEDs will light up. That will obviously, of course, indicate to you which valve has failed. And then it's a very easy fix. So you're not running about testing all the valves, trying to figure out what has happened. So that makes life so much easier. As well as that, all 4 of these are also fused. So again, you can take the fuse out, check if it's simply the fuse that got caught, maybe rather than a blown valve. And again, makes your life so much easier and makes obviously the maintenance and even, I suppose, just the usability of the valve amplifier so much easier. It does come, as you see in the front, obviously you do have your input selector as well as your volume. You'll see here the IR sensor, so this does come with a remote control, which again is quite uncommon in valve amplifiers. It's something that I know a lot of people miss when they don't have it. So again, it's fully equipped in that regard. Obviously, the other thing in the back here is we have 3 sets of inputs, so there's plenty there for use on turntables, CD players, streamers, whatever you need. Of course, you have your 4 and your 8 ohm taps here in the rear, so you can use, again, whichever one suits your speakers better. But one thing as well in the back here we have is a Bluetooth antenna. So this does have Bluetooth built in, which again is quite unusual for a Valve product. What we really like about that is, though, it does actually have an isolator switch. So if you're not using the Bluetooth system, you can turn the switch off. Obviously, that's going to pull all that noise away out of the system and essentially cancels it out. But if you do want to use it, of course, you can turn it back on and you have that feature. Obviously, with Bluetooth, it gives you the chance to have a play about with wireless streaming type things without the investment of a streamer. Obviously, if you do like it, you can obviously then invest into streaming and obviously take it as far as you want. But it's a very, very useful thing to have. It's also even useful just if you're doing testing or you're just maybe trying to find out where a fault is in your system or something like that. You can use that obviously as your input. That will obviously help you to isolate what's went wrong somewhere. But with the modern Valve products, of course, they are generally very reliable. Valves do last a very long time. As long as you don't mistreat them, turning them on and off constantly and things like that, valves will last a very, very long time. They're relatively inexpensive to replace. And of course, you can upgrade them to better spec versions of those valves as well. So you do have those upgrade path options as well. Because of the Kronos, we're of course very heavily involved in valve technology. So it's been something that's been part of Kronos really from the beginning, really. And we tend to be reviewed as some of the more expert in the valve amplifiers. We have so many customers coming to us who specifically want a valve amp. Sometimes they're brand new to valve amps and want more information about speaker matching and maintenance. Other times it is obviously more experienced guys who have always used valves and want some advice on upgrades. So if you are a valve guy, if you want to get into valves, please do feel free to get in touch with us. We have a huge amount of experience with valve technology. We can source valves, we can do anything you need really. But getting back to the Fezz and discussing its sonic performance, it really does everything you want from a valve amplifier. As I mentioned before, it's got 45 watts per channel, so it's got plenty of punch. So you've got good bass lines there, good mid ranges, good weight. But again, it does everything you want in terms of a valve system. It's got all that warmth and naturalism, that organic sound to it. It's got a very, very large sound stage, especially once those valves start bending a little bit more. The dynamics in the sound stages just keep getting better and better. The sound stage is growing. But yeah, it has that very nice naturalism, that realism that you want from a valve amp. It's got obviously, of course, that warmth that we all love with valve amps. We like the fact it's got plenty of power behind it, because I say that keeps those mid ranges and those basses tight and punchy. It keeps plenty of weight to the sound as well. Obviously, due to the fact that it is that sort of warm sound, it's not very fatiguing. So it's an easy amplifier to live with. It's an easy amplifier to listen to. Very little maintenance required, obviously. Maybe it's changing the valves every few years just because it's better, obviously, to keep them refreshed. But it's fairly foolproof, as I say, with all the different safety mechanisms and things like that on the back. Super simple to live with. There's nice wee touches even on the rear of the transformer, who assembled it, who tested it. It's physically handwritten, so it's a nice touch. It's not just a mass-produced factory line product. There is a little bit of luxury here. There is a bit of attention to detail, and that's always nice to see this, especially in the modern world. As I say, you've got all the modern advantages of the likes of, say, Bluetooth, your remote controls, obviously volume pots, things like that. But you're remaining and keeping that nostalgic valve sound and getting the chance to actually view the valves, obviously, with this really clever design. So, I mean, for £3,500, I think there's very little to criticise. Obviously, valve amplifiers aren't for everybody. At 45 watts, for some people that may not be enough. You may need to look at your speaker options. But for anyone that wants to get into valves, who really enjoys that valve sounds but wants a few of those modern technologies added in, the Fezz is definitely worth checking out. As I say, the advantage of being able to change the input valves at the flick of a switch here essentially makes it totally unique, because you can obviously change the whole tone of this amplifier and the sonic performance. And honestly, we would recommend coming and having a listen. It is a really, really beautiful amplifier. The photos don't really do it justice. It is much, much more beautiful when you actually see it in the flesh. And you'll obviously be able to appreciate the build quality a little bit more as well. So yeah, I hope this gives you a very, very quick overview of the amplifier. Obviously, as I said before, with valves, it does tend to become quite personal, because obviously your speaker choices and things like that are more important, maybe arguably than, with a solid state amp. But please do get in touch. We're always happy to advise. If you're concerned about whether this will power your speakers, how it'll fit into your system, about maintenance, about anything like that, as I say, we have a lot of experience in that, so we're more than happy to answer any questions. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video, and you can check this out online or call in store to have a listen for yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you soon in the next one.